but I also don't want to evangelize a false fact that Africa only exists in December, because it doesn't. And so I would love to have a situation in the future where people are just like picking up and going to Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania, like all over Africa.
Welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, your mama's favorite podcast, your daddy's favorite podcast, everybody's favorite podcast, Afronomics. I'm your boy Llewellyn with my co-host.
It's Sita Nabuya here. We're here for another great episode. We got Ugo of in the building, and very excited to have this conversation. Me and Ugo, funny story, we met in Senegal like years ago. I actually was trying to link up with a conference at the Radisson in Dakar. Ended up thinking that he was part of the group that I was meeting up with, and he was not, but was able to chop it up with him, exchange contacts, and been in contact ever since. And had the pleasure of linking with him at Afrotech, linked with him in Ghana, and, just kept in touch all these years. So very happy to be able to have him on today. All right. Now, before we get into the conversation, Ugo, how you feeling today?
I feel good, man. Good weather.
Yeah.
Happy to be here. Happy to meet y'all.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I feel like he's setting you up for this Wahala time.
I'm not.
I don't know what
It feels very set up right now.
It's not a setup.
Like, before we get into it, how you feeling? Because if you're feeling good, that's about to change.
It wasn't no setup. It ain't nothing going on. I'm just, I'm a chill guy. I'm a chill guy. But the topic, I think this is something that we all can participate in, and it's very common in like the African community. But what's the worst somebody ever screwed up your name, like when they first met you?
There's so many. So many. The most common I get is Ugo. Yeah. So then I typically tell people like Hugo without the H to like guide them through it.
Yeah.
I've gotten Igor. Igo.
Igor?
Yeah, Igor's crazy.
But there's no R.
Or I.
They didn't need
Or
one.
I.
Yeah, and then like people try to get cute and like you go, I go, or like they jump right into the jokes.
What about your whole name? How they butchered your whole name?
Do you even let them get that far? Like,
yeah, I usually could. Like, you remember in grade school when there's like a substitute teacher and they're going down the list? I would always remember the kid that's in front of me, so then I'm just
Ugo.
Hey,
I'm
I'm
here.
gonna save you some time.
Yeah, I'm gonna save you some time.
I did that.
Yeah, so it runs the gamut. Like, I've heard everything. I feel like I heard something new recently, but it's not coming to me what it was. But I was like, I've heard everything except that one. That was insane. But I don't remember what it was. But yeah, I'm very used to people butchering my name. It comes with the territory. I grew up in a place where I was very much so the only, not only just like the only black person, but the only African. So there's levels to it.
I've heard, because if people are trying to read my name and pronounce it, they think it's like Spanish because it's two L's at the beginning, so they'll say Uayan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. And so what I started telling people is, when I notice a pattern, I'll say, whatever your first instinct is, go with that. And people, because normally people would be like, when I correct them, they'll say, oh, I was going to say Llewellyn, but I didn't want to be wrong. So now I say, oh, how do I pronounce your name? What do you think it is? And every time, 9 times out of 10, if they go with their first instinct, they're always right. But the worst I think I've heard was UA, and I was like, you're doing, I appreciate you trying, but you're doing way too much. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Me, I grew up playing sports. And, your last name gets used a lot in sports.
Dumbuya.
That's tame.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's pronounced Dumbuya. But first of all, let's start with Sita. Let's not even get to, we're going to get to the last name, but Sita is spelled Sitta, which is not phonetically Sita. So I guess Sitta very often, Sitta or Sita. They think it's like Peter. Peter has a T in it, but the way you pronounce it in America, you pronounce it with a D. You say Peter.
Oh, okay.
So they think it's Sita. Like I hear that a lot. Sitta, Sita, Sitai. But what I had to start telling people is like Mama Sita. Because, like, most people understand you got to say the A with, like, an I sound when you say Mamacita. So that's been what I've been using. As far as the last name, though, is Dumbuya. I done heard Dumbaye is the most common. Oh no, Dumbaya, because they see the B-U-Y and it's D-U-M-B-U-I-A, so Dumbaya,
Yeah.
Dumbaye, Dumbliaye.
Mm.
I had a football coach, Coach Travis.
Not you call him out.
Come down to the pulpit. Coach Travis in middle school. No, he was actually one of the coolest coaches we had. He played for the Dolphins for a while. His brother was the head coach, and he's pretty prominent in Atlanta, like the entertainment, owns a few clubs. But he used to call me Dumbliaye for the longest, like all of middle school.
That's crazy.
Then high school, I had a coach. We was like, I don't remember what we was doing. It was like summer training. I went up. We had to go to the coach and like get on the list for something. I went up and I was like, "Oh, my name on the list." And he's like, "Oh, Dombrowski."
What?
it's like this.
At that point, you're not even trying.
I'm like,
You're not even trying.
Yeah.
yeah, another coach. I told him my name. He was like, "What'd you call me?" Like a whole room went crazy. Anyway, I got plenty of just name horror stories and everything.
And it's also funny when people can't pronounce my first name, so they only call me by my last name. They'll just be like Dixon.
That's easy.
And when people say Dixon, I'm like, oh, you don't know how to. You don't even want to try to do my first name. That's what it is.
The adding of letters is crazy. It's like
Right.
people often say Obelio, and I'm like, there's only one I. I don't know where you're. Yeah, it sounds a little too exotic.
You're trying to
but
get fancy with it.
Yeah, so very used to that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Okay. All right, but yeah, no, that's something I figure we all could relate
Mhm.
on. But now we can get into the actual conversation.
Mhm.
So let me make sure that I introduce you correctly. So it's Ugo Obilo
Mhm.
from Jersey, but
Yeah.
currently resides in the Metro Atlanta area,
Yeah.
and he's a co-founder of Discover Gidi.
Discover Gidi.
Oh, it's Giddy.
Yeah.
Damn, my bad. I actually never knew that.
Yeah. It's a play on Lagos, but
Oh,
yeah.
really? There's a place in
So Lagos is like people call it Las Gidi, like
aha.
yeah. So we started the company. I mean, not to
No,
step
you
on
know,
it,
go ahead.
but we started the company with a thought to like bring people to Lagos, Nigeria, because it's like you'll look around
Yeah.
across like historically, you'll look around and say, okay, I can go to Europe, I can go to Asia,
Yeah.
and there's resources online for those kind of things. But when it comes to Africa, people are like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, but for me and my business partner, it was like we were starting to travel in our mid-20s. I was like, this is fun. This is
Yeah.
cool. But we could have a much better time in Africa based on
Yeah.
like our own experiences. But then when we put that out there, people are very apprehensive. So why don't we serve as the middleman to connect people? And so the thought was, let's bring people to Lagos, let them experience Lagos in a way that's like comfortable and something that's like palatable for people. And so our whole thought was, all right, let's show Lagos as like what we want to discover Lagos, Nigeria. So that's where the name came
Yeah.
from. So Discover Gidi and Las Gidi, people call it Gidi, like it's always like the city's always on the go. So it's like
Yeah.
kind of a play on that. And that's where the name came from.
Oh no, I didn't know that. My
Yeah,
bad.
I didn't know that
Thank
that
you
was
for
a
correcting
People
me.
say
for
GD all the time. And my co-founder, Chidi, they're like, oh, maybe it's like a play on. I was like, nah. So, yeah.
Yeah, we done got through a whole segment of mispronouncing names, and y'all follow up. With
It's only right. It's only right.
But at least yours makes sense. You didn't call it something just.
Yeah, you ain't had
Discover Giadi or
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No, thanks. Thanks for that correction.
Mhm.
And I mean, of course, I feel like the crowd already knows, but of course, you're a Nigerian brother
Mhm.
of Igbo descent.
Yeah.
But you were born in
in
Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah.
Born in Jersey,
Mhm.
and then of course traveled to Africa, and now is organizing trips. Him and his co-founder, they're organizing trips to bring groups. Now, I'm not talking about 5, 10 people. They're bringing pretty significant size groups of people to different places on the continent and curating the experience that is like once in a lifetime, mind blowing, especially for a lot of people who have never been to Africa. So I'm not going to give all the details because I don't even know all the details. But just tell us a little more about your story. You already gave some background on how Discover Giddy came to fruition. But just kind of give us more of that background of you coming up, your ties to Nigeria, and how the precursor before the business and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it's my parents did a really, really good job of planting that seed. So my father's a medical doctor, And once he was able to like get through his licensing and schooling, one of the things that was stuck in his mind was I need to go back to my village and give back what I learned. So he started doing medical missions in 1995, maybe even earlier, but that's the first time we went. And basically it was like, I'm going to give free medical care to as many people as possible in the amount of time that I'm here.
Wow.
And so from a very young age, I was seeing like the concept of giving back to people.
Yeah.
And the concept of what home really was. Because growing up where I grew up in Wayne, New Jersey, I can assure you there was no other Ugo and there was not many other people that looked like me.
Mm-hmm.
And so just that concept of like, the world is much bigger than where I am right now. And I had that in mind. And so it was always a concept of, okay, we have this here, but there's people that are relying on us back home.
Mm.
And so there was never much of a disconnect between who I was as Nigerian and who I was from Imo State in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And as a Black American, of course, as well. And so as time went on, started to kind of grow that relationship and consistently went back home with my family. Like we didn't have family vacations. And I'm sure that's like the story for a lot of, first generation Africans growing up in the United States. Like our family vacations and those funds were heavily devoted to going back home as a family, which now I'm like, I don't know how we afforded that, but that was our escape, if you will. And at the time, like I would say when I hit like my teenage years, I wasn't really grateful for that experience. It was kind of like pledging almost. Like I would go home and we would be in the village and we couldn't really do much. So I would just be like sitting around. I'd play around with the kids in the village.
Yeah.
But it wasn't much of like what I felt was my concept of a vacation.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, all right, this is like a chore because I'm here. And then we're always doing these medical missions as well. Not that I had any resentment. I just don't think that as I became a teenager, really appreciated the moment that I was in. Then when I was around 18, I went back like right before I went to college. And we went back and I think that was like kind of the shift that I had in my head. Like, okay, now I'm really appreciating this because I'm a lot more mature and I'm seeing the impact of what we're doing. There's kids that I saw when I was younger, they have now grown up, and I could see the difference in myself and them, even in my development. One of my cousins in the village was named after me, but we were born at the very same time. So I remember when we were kids, I'm Ugo Chukwu, he's Ugo Chukwu. So it's almost like I had a very clear character foil for who I would be if I was living in the village and growing up in the village. And so I was growing up, I became 18, and like even in my development, like physically, I could see that there was a difference in like the opportunity that I had in the United States versus the opportunity that he had. And that really dawned on me like, again, there's a lot more that I'm responsible for as a young person. So then fast forward again, like I did appreciate it, but I also didn't necessarily like enjoy going to the village and like kind of having a very one-dimensional experience of what Nigeria was. We didn't spend much time in Lagos growing up. So then I went back a few years later and my brother took me out. So we went for Christmas. And what is typical for Igbo people to do is like you go to the village, you go to the east for Christmas. So that's far away from the city. You go and you kind of just have like a very like down home, like countryside experience of like, what y'all were mentioning, like cows and chickens and like, you said cows, like, they was getting cooked. Like, But so I had that experience and then went to Lagos for New Year's, like around New Year's time. And when I tell you I had like the time of my life, like the same fun that I was like accustomed to times 10. And I was like, wow, like more people need this. Because if I talk to 5 Igbo people that a lot of them had a very similar experience to me, like going to Nigeria is a chore, especially around that age. Going to Nigeria is a chore. We don't really get to do much. I don't see too much. But it's like, I want to instill that same appreciation for Nigeria that I have now into other people that are like me that had this like story of like, oh, I don't really want to go to Nigeria. I'd rather go to anywhere else for this vacation, not knowing that if you just had a more well-rounded experience, you would really fall in love with it in the same way that I did. And so that's kind of like how the seed got planted. And then a little later on, I was traveling a lot. That's how I met my co-founder, my best friend. Like, we just clicked. We were on a African Greek trip in Vegas. And, you know, I mean, I don't know if y'all had the same experience, but GroupMe was like the watering hole for a lot of people for a while. And so
I remember that.
That's how we connected via technology. Like, oh, yeah, like I met a bunch of people. We had like a GroupMe for African Greeks. We connected, and it's just like fast friends. I'm saying something, I'm saying jokes, and it's clicking, and we're just like exchanging. Then we met in person. It's like family, immediate. Like ever since we probably talk ever since that day, probably every day since then, and that's probably close to 10 years ago now. So ended up like having this experience where the same ideas and the same thoughts that I was mentioning about wanting people to fall in love with our experiences in Nigeria. He was like, yeah, you know, like I understand that, like. Yeah, like I'm picking up what you're putting down in this respect. And so we were on a group trip to Costa Rica. We were very excited. Like, this is great, going on a group trip to Costa Rica, and it was an awful experience.
Really?
Yeah, it was bad. Like, the hotel was awful. It was all-inclusive, like everything, but we made the best of it. But in that scene, like, I'm very thankful for that awful experience because we were able to come up with the idea, and it was like, I was like, we could do this specific thing. We could do it a lot better in Lagos. And Chidi, he was going to Nigeria for his sister's wedding. So I was like, look, man, let's drop a business plan. Let's figure this out. When you go, I want you to check out a few things because Africa, especially Nigeria, you got to see it. Like, you got to, like, the pictures online may not be what it is. So, like, I want you to make sure you're going and checking things out. He was like, all right, bet. Like, let's make this happen. And from there, we just started working on it. And that was January 2017. We announced it to the public April 2017. And then we had our first trip in December to Nigeria in 2017. By all accounts, it was pretty much a failure. Like,
really,
the first trip.
Yeah. I would love to sit here and say like, oh yeah,
it was great.
That's what I thought you was gonna say.
No, not at all, man. And I think like I'm glad. Maybe I'm a little crazy. I'm glad like most sane people would be like, all right,
we tried it.
Good game, like, yeah.
Been there, done that.
Right, you gave it the college shot. And when I tell you stress, like, it's just there's nothing like international business. And then there's nothing like international business in Africa, right? So, like, I feel like because of that, I've been able to navigate so many other situations more skillfully because I have a level of patience and a level of, like, faith in God that something's going to work out because of that. And so, like, that first year, a lot of our agreements, I mean, you don't know, but a lot of the agreements that we had just didn't come to fruition. We had a transportation company cancel on us upon arrival.
Wow. And
imagine you have people that have never, some of them haven't been out of the country, let alone to Africa before. So your entire experience, their entire experience is in your hands. And so you have a lot of responsibility. And you should not be as surprised as they are about the things that are happening. But that's just, that was just the nature of the situation. And by all accounts, like, they had a good time. But as an organizer and as somebody that had worked from January to December to put something together, it was very tough going through that experience. Like, I feel like I had PTSD from that. Like, it was just nothing went right. Like, nothing, as we discussed it, went to plan. We overshot on what we expected in terms of headcount. At the time, we didn't necessarily know how to navigate that situation, so we ended up overpaying. We had empty rooms that we were paying for.
Wow.
We had a transportation company that canceled. There was a fuel shortage in Nigeria, believe it or not.
Really, which is insane.
Which is
absolutely insane.
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense. But because of fuel shortage, everything increased in price. So they're like, well, the fuel is higher now. So now in order to deliver the food, you have to pay more. So food costs went up. Transportation, like everything was just more expensive. There was inherent inflation in that way. So, and I mean, it's not like we had investors or people that were like, hey, you know, we love this idea. Let's give you some money. This was like out of pocket money that we were just trying to make it work. And believe it or not, we only charged people $500 that year. Mind you, this is a 5-day, essentially all-inclusive experience. Going to, you know, New Year's, going to parties, going to this, going to that. Again, the original thought was like, there's going to be a lot of our peers that have already traveled to Nigeria, so we want to make it cost effective. At the time, you can get a decent flight for like in between $1,000 and $2,000, which now is just not the case. But at the time, that was. So I'm like, all right, well, people are going to want to have this experience if they can afford it. Maybe I needed to have a few more business courses, but the pricing was low in order to attract a higher volume. However, we didn't hit a higher volume, and the price was just low. So we ended up losing money, a lot of money, and that's not even just like monetary. That's time as well, effort, all that. So we kind of took a couple of days after we got back. We're like, whew. And you know, like one of those situations where like it's like, you gonna say it or am I gonna say it? And so we were in a situation where it's like, all right, so you know, same time next year, like, yeah, same time next year, like, let's get it.
Yeah.
And you know, I wouldn't say that things changed overnight, but I think a lot of people within our culture, and I'm speaking about like Black culture as well, it's like they want to see it. Like they want to see you execute in order to endorse something, which is fine. So that next year, people saw that we actually did it. People that came on the trip were huge supporters of what we did, to the point where like they were evangelizing the brand. Like these guys, they took me out to Lagos. I had a great experience, which is true. We gave them a good experience, but from the planning side, it was just very tough.
Oh, so they didn't really see or feel the impact of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, they didn't see that, which
good.
you know, like the concept of, you know, the duck on the water, right?
Yeah.
Like it looks cool up top, but it's a lot of struggle down below, right?
And everything.
Right. So, which I mean is still very much the case, but now we're just better at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so people saw it and they were like, "Oh, this is I want to go to Africa." Like, and these guys are doing something that enables me to do that. And so, had a couple of good friends that put us in contact with people that were looking to go. At the time, getting visas for Nigeria was actually a lot easier than it is now. Maybe we'll talk about that, maybe we won't. But I was able to facilitate the process of getting visas pretty well, just from sheer effort and begging, just going to the embassy and like having a presence there and asking to help out my people to, you know, get their visas. A friend put me in contact with Naturi Naughton, and she is, you know, she played Tasha on the show Power. In 2018, Power was like
popping.
Man,
Yeah,
great show.
One
but
of my
yeah,
favorites.
Yeah. So, she was like, "Hey, I heard that you could assist. I really want to go to Nigeria. I heard that you can assist me in like getting my visa." I took care of it for her, and maybe like 4 days. It just worked out. She was like, "Actually, I have a couple other friends that want to come and experience this as well. Would you be able to help me out?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." So helped her and her friends get their visas, and they came through and showed a lot of love. Like we had a couple of events, and she came and she did interviews. She evangelized the brand, posted on her social media, just off of love, and that really helped us like hit a completely new level and a completely new stride. And then that was December 2018. So we had I would say maybe like 4 times the people that year.
Wow.
Things went well. And then we expanded our offering outside of Africa. We did our first trip in 2019 to Cartagena, Colombia, because it was more the thesis around that was Africa is as a diaspora is across the globe.
Mm-hmm.
So let's highlight that, especially in places that it's easier to get to.
Yeah.
So
I realized there were a lot of people in the diaspora in Cartagena.
yeah. There's a community. I think the first freed slave colony in South America is Palenque, which is
Really?
about like 45 minutes outside of
I've heard.
outside of
Okay.
Cartagena. And so you go there, and like even the Spanish they speak is different. Like I'm there.
Spanish with some seasoning.
Yeah,
some
I'm
Maggi.
there, and I'm seeing people that look. It looks like the village, like in terms of like how the people look, and I just felt very at home there. But highlighting that, it was super cool. So we have also an aspect to our business where we're highlighting African culture in as many different places as we can, even outside of Africa. So I think those two things really helped us like hit a new stride at a new level. Having someone of her status have a great experience with us, and then like tell people about it, and then also giving people more touch points with us as a business, which is another trip to a different place.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So my question was, do you think it was intentional that your parents didn't take y'all into the city during when y'all would do those trips? Because I mean, I looked at it as maybe they wanted you all. They knew what the city was, and you had that in the U.S., but they probably wanted you all to have that connection to the village. And that version of your culture, because you can always go to the city, but to have the cultural connection in the village, that's something I think is also important. Do you think that was intentional, or that was just what they were doing because they were doing it?
I'd love to have like a grand scheme story about how my parents, intentionally but unintentionally developed the love for it in that way. But I think just knowing like culturally how it works, there wasn't much for us at the time periods in which we were going to do in the city. So like our family members, even if they lived in the city, would head east during the holiday periods.
Okay.
So it wasn't like they were keeping us from that. It was just no one there to do anything with if we did decide to go to the city. And like in that space and in that time, you don't really like let your kids at that age like go do
Run
whatever
through
they
the
want.
streets.
And then just for additional context, which is actually a funny like family story. We fly when we go. So typically what happens is you land in Lagos and then you take what we call like a local flight to the airport in Owerri. That's in Imo State where we're from. And so that flight's maybe about an hour, probably less, a lot less. It's not a long flight. However, when we were younger, we used to travel by bus. And when I tell you that is the worst experience,
I'm sure.
oh my goodness, like
Unpaved roads.
oh, it take it easily like 5-6 hours
Yeah.
of driving. So it's not like you just like skip back to the city if you need to.
Yeah.
It's like if you go out there, you're out there.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't know if they really had a situation where they're like, okay, we want you to have this specific experience and not that experience. It was more like this is the experience that we have available, and that's what you're gonna get. So I think that's how it really worked out.
With Discover Gidi, what are some of the, I guess in the long term, what is the big goal for it aside from just exposing people, or is that the main goal?
I think as a business person, and I've studied business, so background there, I did my undergraduate degrees in accounting, and I did a master's in accounting and consulting, and then I did my MBA in Chicago, and I did MBA strategy kind of thing. So I studied a lot of business, and I've thought about this a lot because we're in a situation where we go on every experience. my co-founder and we have a team. Shout outs to the team. They're very crucial to us. We appreciate them very much.
Yep.
But now we have a team, and thinking about like how do we multiply our presence so that it's not just December in Africa. Like I love Dirty December as like a concept, but I also don't want to evangelize a false fact that Africa only exists in December, because it doesn't. And so I would love to have a situation in the future where people are just like picking up and going to Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania, like all over Africa. And I think, sometimes people say like, oh, well, Africa is bigger than West Africa. And it absolutely is. But I just think like, I love Ghana as an entry point for people to experience Africa as well.
Absolutely.
Similar with South Africa. We had an amazing experience in South Africa in December 2024. So in the future, I'm hoping that people are going and picking up and leveraging our network to have their own experiences across Africa, across the globe. And so, it's just about figuring out how to get there. But that's the goal, because we, as a travel company, we do something that I think is relatively unique. My co-founder and I, like I mentioned, you don't want to be surprised in the same way that your customers and guests are surprised.
Yeah.
And so we go and we're shaking hands, walking through hotels, riding on the buses that we're going to have. We are tasting the food. We are having a full experience months and months before. We just came back from Brazil in January. Our Brazil trip is coming up Labor Day weekend. We did our best to experience as much as we could, so that we can have this experience, but also in that process, we're establishing connections. We're establishing a network in these different places that can be leveraged. So just because we don't choose a certain vendor doesn't mean that vendor wouldn't be able to serve you just as well on your family trip when you plan it. And so we've developed this backlog of relationships, and we are very relationship-based people, of wonderful vendors across all of our locations that can be leveraged for people as they're planning trips, especially in these places that are relatively obscure in terms of like resourcing. So, we met in Senegal. Not many people are planning trips for the casual traveler or even the solo traveler, which is very popular now, to go to Senegal and have a experience that they're comfortable with. And so if I can tell you this person is Discover Gidi certified as your transportation partner when you go, if I could tell you this hotel is Discover Gidi certified because we have slept on the beds. That's a level of assurance that I don't think you can get from a much larger conglomerate, because they're dealing with other issues, and their volume and what they make is off of commission, so they can make a couple of cents off of you clicking their link. So that they're not dealing in the minutia in the same way that we are, and I think that while it's limiting, but I think it's our gift, because we're able to personally verify things. And so hopefully we can expand on that, but that is, I think, where the future is going, where somebody can leverage the network that we've built to have their own experiences that they can really enjoy.
So right now, with me as a solo traveler, would I be able to go to hit you up to go to Africa?
Oh, absolutely. And I think through the territory of what we do, like the amount of like free game that we give out is it's just that we haven't monetized that specific aspect of what we do, but the sheer amount of free game of like, hey, can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? Oh, I'm going here. Can you? It's like that takes up a lot of our time, but it's something that we're passionate about, something that we love to do. So it's very easy for us to say like, oh yeah, like go to this place, stay in this place. If you're going for this type of experience, you want to be in this area, and these are things that we do very, very openly.
Yeah, guilty. I can actually speak to that. When we were in Ghana at the same time, uh, Ugo definitely gave me some tips on, we're checking out this part, we're going to this event, and it was very helpful. We had a very, very, very good experience. I'll say that even the tip to go to check out the PVO party for New Year's in Ghana, that
Mhm.
was
PVO party, what's that?
Yeah. Shout
positive
outs to
vibes.
PVO.
Yeah, positive vibes only.
Okay.
But they throw parties and
Mhm.
Really?
yeah, they would do it in just every it was probably the best New Year's Eve like just party that I've been to. Like fireworks at midnight, this whole setup at the hotel,
Mhm.
like right on the beach. Like it was it
That's
was
dope.
it was an experience for sure.
That's dope.
Yeah.
And it's good hearing that background of how you guys went from providing a good experience, but really kind of having a train wreck of a first trip into the what you guys are doing at the scale you're doing. It just speaks to the resilience and determination and having a passion for what you guys
Mhm.
do. I think that's overlooked. But you mentioned in the beginning just kind of the international business is tough. Doing business in Africa is tough. So like what is that like for somebody who's never done that? You kind of spoke to some of it of people canceling the price of but like what are some of those things that you just wouldn't even think about until you start getting into trying to do business in Africa?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. I think every location and every area has their own like cultural side of doing business. And in Africa, it's very much like see it, I shake your hand, and we could sign all the contracts you want, but I have to trust you that you're going to fulfill that because what are we going to take this to court? Like, no, you are not. Like,
No.
yeah, good luck. Like,
Right.
that money is gone. It has been spent. Like,
Yeah.
so I have to instill trust in you that I'm going to fulfill my end of the deal and you have to do the same. And I
Yeah.
think that's the most stressful part for somebody that isn't African.
Yeah.
And I think, you deal with it in different ways in different areas, but like, just like a time thing, like people, we joke about African time. It's like, oh yeah, like I thought you were going to be here at 12. They might show up at 5 p.m. like traffic. Like it's like, what you mean traffic? Like the event is over. Like, so, there's just certain things culturally that you want, that you have to like work out and understand. But I think it's just like a repetition.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I joke because like there's differences in doing business in Lagos and doing business in Ghana. So what we did in 2022, that was our 5-year anniversary. We did a trip to Lagos, like bringing it back to where it all started. And like, like Nigerians, they see me and it's like, I'm Nigerian, but like my Nigerian and their Nigerian is different. So like they're like, oh, maybe I could try this kid. Like I could try him. Like,
yeah.
and so like I have to be ready to like
Yeah.
turn it on and like
stand on
turn it up.
business.
Yeah, stand on business. Like
Yeah.
it has to happen. And like Nigerians, it's like I have to give you like a little bit. I have to see how far I could push in order to like. And part of it is like a little game, like, and you get respect. But like, as long as they know you're not playing, they're not gonna play with you.
Yeah.
And so like, I was so used to like you just gotta like go off on somebody at least once, just to like show like
that you can.
I care and I'm very serious about you fulfilling your end of the deal.
Yeah. Like we can go there if we want to.
Exactly.
We don't want to.
So then I took a very quick flight. The flight from Lagos to Accra, maybe like 30 minutes. It's a whole new business. And I feel like that's a piece that people don't really realize when we do these back-to-back trips. It's like each location is a completely different business. But my mind was still in Lagos. So like I arrive in Ghana and like things maybe are moving a little slow and I'm like snapping and like so like culturally like Ghanaians are a little bit more laid back than Nigerians. And so like I'm there like ready to turn up because I still got Nigerian sand in my shoes. Like I'm still ready to like turn up. and they're like, hey, like Charlie,
Yeah,
why,
Charlie.
We just vibing.
Charlie, what's it from? I'm like, you know what? Like, there's a couple times where I was like, I am sorry. Like I realized that I was tripping. I'm sorry.
I'm the problem.
Yeah,
My
I'm
bad.
absolutely. I'm
that's
100%
my
the
bad.
problem. Yeah. And so like, but that's just like a testament to like every place, every country, even city to city is different, and you have to bring a different vibe to yourself, different aspect. And so, you know, I think that's the piece of international business. Like anybody could book a venue or like, you know, arrange something, but you know, even in business, like certain things are boardroom reality and certain things are reality.
Yeah.
And like you can talk in meetings all you want, but like you have to like kind of get out on the field and experience that. And I think that's the thing that nowadays, like people want business, but people don't want to be in business. And so like, that's why like you kind of got to get in the trenches, especially when you're doing international business, especially when you're dealing with people of African descent. Like like our connections are very personal. And so like, that's why it's another thing. If you do good business for me, like you'll have a customer forever. And like I stand on that. We have an amazing we try to hire locally, like as much as possible. So our media crew in when we go to Ghana, there are 3 photographers that we tend to work with. When I tell you great work, like I can rely on them to be on time. I can rely on them to produce good quality. And if we give them direction, they take it very well. And that's something that's invaluable to me as someone who's like, we live in a media heavy generation. Yeah. And so people want to get their flicks off. And our main mode of marketing is Instagram, like social media. So people see someone looking amazing on a trip and like, you have to drill down. But we brought the people, but that vendor that we chose, that we're doing business with, that we've continued to patronize, is the person that kind of made that possible for us to showcase what we're doing. And that's something that like cannot be overstated. That is very important to the success of our business. And so being in a situation where we are developing these international business relationships and fostering them, I think that helps us a lot as well.
Yeah. No, that's real. I think that's the one of the big separating factors of where we are, the West versus doing business in Africa, is just the cultural aspect is incredibly different. Like the West is very much more about rugged individualism, and you know they work on relationships, and that's important. But you know you're not dealing with as much being personable. Like when you do things in Africa, it's very much community based, and that's with everything. Like if you marry somebody, your family marries their family. Like just the way we look at things is a lot more about the group and the collective as opposed to how do I interact with this person. It's like it's more community based. You know, for better for worse, I think it has like more advantages than it has drawbacks if you really understand how to do it. Like you mentioned, you can't necessarily take somebody to court, but I think community is an aspect. Like if you know somebody's family, the social repercussions of doing something, you know,
Crazy.
that in itself can have its own implications, and you can leverage that. So it's just good seeing how you navigate it. And to your point about business, you can't really teach a lot of it in school. You know, you study it in school, you learn the strategies, but it's very much about doing. You gotta learn through experience. You gotta take those chances and take those risks and get on the ground. So like that's for anybody that's like within the diaspora. If you want to do business in Africa, yes, you gotta learn. Yes, you gotta have connections. Yes, you gotta understand the culture first. But at some point, you gotta actually put the pen down and get to executing.
Yeah.
And you know that's a call to action. If anything, just you know you got to get your hands dirty a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, as far as what I was mentioning earlier, it's very important that, and I love what you guys did. Is you kept that community aspect going. You kept the roots to Nigeria, to Imo State, and going to the village. And you know why is that so very important for other people in the diaspora that maybe they've gotten comfortable. They might be second generation. They've been in the U.S. or they've been in London for a long time. Why is it so important that they have that connection and that, you know, resolve to go back?
Yeah, and I think it's beyond people that find themselves to be first generation or second generation, what have you. I think as an African American person, and this is like anecdotal, excuse me, where we've had people, a significant portion of the people that come on our trips. I'm sorry for being so long winded
No,
in these
you're good,
responses,
you're good.
but we've had a significant portion of the people that come on our trips that got their first passport to come on our trip. So they haven't been out of the country, but they're like, once in a lifetime opportunity. Let me go to Ghana. Let me go to Nigeria. And I spoke to this woman, and she was just like in tears, like, "Oh man, this is such a great experience. Like, you guys are really doing your thing." And I'm sitting like, "Thank you. Like, we we put a lot of work in this." But she was just like, "There's a feeling here that I just haven't experienced before," and it's kind of like the theory of double consciousness, but always as I live my life in the United States, I'm always remembering myself like how I'm being perceived as a people, like in the eyes of other people. And as a black person, it's a lot of weight. Like I have to remember, like, you know what, like I was wearing a do-rag when I was driving over and I wanted to get something to eat. And I'm like, oh man, like maybe I should just take my do-rag off. I don't, or like I'm always thinking about myself in the eyes of other people sometimes. And when you go to Africa, that weight is lifted off of your shoulders.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at everyone like I hate the concept of like, oh yeah, like I don't see color. But when I go to Africa, like I'm just like existing. And that weightlessness is what she mentioned as like the feeling that she hadn't felt before because she hadn't left the United States. She never experienced Africa. And she's like, I feel lighter here. I feel like I'm able to just walk and be myself and not have to worry about someone looking at me as a black woman and judging me before they even hear any words out of my mouth. And I think that is such a powerful realization when it's kind of like unlocking a level in your mind.
Yeah.
And so that's something that's like extremely important for people to experience, whether it be with Discover Gidi or on your own or with your family. I just want people to experience a space of extreme comfort in being who you are as a black person.
Powerful.
And I think that if nothing else is taken from this interview, I just think that people experiencing Africa and experiencing the concept of like, I'm just here, I'm just me, and I'm with family is so powerful and so amazing that you just can't get it anywhere else. And so that's why it's so important.
Yeah.
So with like Cartagena, for example, and other places that are not in Africa, but are still impactful and meaningful to the diaspora, do you do research to discover those places, and how do you choose outside of Africa?
Yeah, so I think that's another thing where it's really important to travel, but it's also important to like experience, because I feel like sometimes people tend to fall into this trap of like trying to recreate their home experiences just in a different place.
Come on, man.
Like,
yes, you're right.
Like you could have done that in Miami.
You could have done. You could. We got McDonald's at home.
Right, exactly.
Why do you want to eat McDonald's?
Yeah, exactly. And so, what we try to do is like find those authentic experiences that you can have. Even like when we go on these recon trips, we try to experience these things and make sure that we are sticking true to our ethos as a business, which is like highlighting the beauty of African culture. Something that we did last year that was, I think, like a core memory for me, and something that is just such an amazing thing is my co-founder and I, we took our mothers to DR. We're having a trip to DR.
Yeah.
And so like,
love that.
There's not many times that you can like show, like it's kind of like bring your parents to work, but we were able to like take our mothers on a luxurious vacation, something that's much needed for them to, but also in that time they were able to see what we work so hard on.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like treating them, but also like showing them like what your sons are doing is not like, we take this very seriously, and this afforded us the opportunity to give you guys this gift. And like, again, that's something that can't be overstated in terms of like my appreciation for Discover Gidi for allowing me the space to do that for my mother is just incredible. So not many times, and I think as just a son, I want my parents to be proud of me and proud of what I do. But
Absolutely.
being able to like show them and show my mother that, I think that was just like invaluable. So
Yeah.
that's another thing.
Dope.
So this is a question we ask every
Mhm.
guest. So for someone who's like maybe taking their first trip, and you actually probably very qualified to answer this, but somebody who's taking their first trip to Africa, what's one experience that you recommend? Just like, oh, you should check this out, check out this location, check out this place, try this particular food or drink, etc. Like, what's one thing that you kind of low hanging fruit that you think would be good for a first trip?
Whew, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna like split it into, I think from the spiritual focus and the spiritual end of things, I think going to the Cape Coast castles in Ghana is such a powerful experience. It's dark. These are the point of no return is there, but just being there and understanding the story and seeing it, I think it's so powerful because you see that you're the descendants of people that are strong. You're descendants of people that went through something that is unimaginable, and that's something to take pride in, not to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
And I think that's an invaluable experience.
Absolutely.
But from the more fun end, I think there's no bad time to go to West Africa, to go to, like, my mission. I would love to go to as many African cities as possible and experience something new in each one. But West Africa in December, Dirty December, I think everyone should experience it. Like, like the late nights and the late nights and the
early mornings.
early mornings, like going out to an event. The first stop is at 2 a.m. and the last stop is your hotel, maybe at like 12 noon. It's like, but just being able to be in a space where you're completely just like enjoying the moment, not worried about like anything. You just like having a really good time amongst like-minded people. It's safe, it's comfortable. Experiencing Dirty December, I just think is something that everyone should try at least once. Maybe it's not for everybody, but it's a good entry point, a good way to experience a lot in a little bit of time.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I agree.
Man, Ugo, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for exposing the folks to Africa and continuing to do it. I mean, I know you're the effects of it are making waves because, I mean, you're exposing people. I'll just say this too. You're exposing people and bringing people to Africa, but you don't know what that could do in them to inspire them to do other things as well. So you are indirectly contributing to like building the culture, building the continent and the future. So, man, you doing it, man. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the conversation. Afronomics, you already know what it is. We are done for this episode with the dope Ugo. Like, subscribe, share, tell everybody you know, tell everybody you don't know. Just make sure the word gets out there. Afronomics, fam. We out.
Peace.